How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by The Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here. I just wanted to give you a heads up that Pack Your Knives is part of the Count the Dings network. And if you've been following the Black Lives Matter movement around the country, around the world, and you want to understand its issues and some of the voices inside that movement, I really recommend you listening to the BOMB podcast, Black Opinions Matter Monday, BOMM podcast under the Count the Dings network. It's an incredible show that's been running for years talking about these issues. And 2 weeks ago, they had The Atlantic's Jamel Hill. And last week, they had Justin Tinsley from ESPN's The Undefeated. And I really, really recommend you listen to that show if you want to learn more about it and just have a lot of fun. With that, let's get on with the show.
Tom, does your food really taste better when you're happy? Because I do my best eating in a neurotic state.
I think I'm a really good angry eater. And you know what? Actually, when I angry eat, I don't even remember any of it. So maybe I do. Maybe I do eat best when I'm happy, Kevin.
This sounds like the Twinkie defense to me. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tom, we are on the eve of the finale. We had our final 4 cooking in Parma, Italy. In Emilia Romagna, one of the most prolific food regions of the world. We had Parmesan, we had prosciutto, we had really, really bitchy Italian judges. We had it all.
It was amazing. We had that guy Lorenzo, who was like a cup of espresso. Really good English, too. The youngest Michelin-starred chef in Italy. He was a delight. And then this was, Kevin... Your number 1 pick went down, but I am convinced more than ever that you have the winner of Top Chef on your team.
Do you really?
I really believe it. I think this episode proved beyond a reasonable doubt that when Padma Lakshmi says, "You are Top Chef," and she just basically jumps out of her skin, that is a Stephanie. Congratulations.
How am I supposed to feel about the fact that our entire conversation around the outcome of this show is now this is a Pruder film of Padma in some preview clip trying to completely untangle the intonation in her voice and who might she be talking to. And clearly that's not what she would say to Voltaggio. I'm a little concerned that all of our analysis and fandom and collective enthusiasm for this show has now been reduced to who is this like these.
Kevin, did they show Padma on this preview for next?
I don't
week?
know. You want to know why? Because I watched the press.
You
reel.
didn't.
Yes, I did. I
Wait
watched
a
the
minute.
press version. I went full Vince because I'm in Joshua Tree, California, and I was not going to have access to the show on Thursday night. I was able to get Samizdat. I was able to get the early press clip or whatever it's called.
Did it come with like a coupon for San Pellegrino?
It did not.
Or like Peroni?
But I went
you
to
didn't get any
bed
coupons?
on Wednesday night with full knowledge of what happened. I spoke to nobody, not even my partner, about this. So I did not see. I have not once again seen this ridiculous clip that is governing all conversation about this show that I kind of got to tell you, like, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Look, I'm just telling you, Kevin, that when they did a preview for the next week episode, the way they ended it wasn't with Padma saying, "You are Top Chef." It was Tom Colicchio basically saying, someone has to go, someone has to be crowned Top Chef here. You guys produce both great dishes, in that very stern, serious Tom Colicchio voice. And then it was just fade to black. Mm-hmm. So they stripped that away from the trailer, which makes me even more suspicious, Kevin, that
you think it was a full
we
tell.
were right.
All right. So rather than talk about the meta of like whatever it is that Padma is or is not suggesting in her reaction, why don't we talk about what Stephanie's doing well? She did not win this week, but once again was on the top two, apparently a very close second. She is one of the great underdog stories in recent Top Chef history. This is somebody who, by her own admission, said if I finished in the top 10, I was going to be ecstatic. She is somebody that neither of us, I've been on this show, though she is my pick, I thought she would, having rewatched a lot of previous Top Chef, I thought she went home unfairly, sort of fell in a team competition. So I did think she was undervalued, and I picked her. However, even by my estimation, I didn't think she had the creativity to go this far, and she is cooking up a storm. I don't want to bury the lead, which is Melissa is a juggernaut, and we will talk about that shortly. But Stephanie, as she said, she is cooking happy, and the food is reflecting it. Gail Simmons said that this was after coming off a week where she won and another week where she did very well, that this was actually her best food in both courses. So and just to remind our listeners, this was easy. Use Parmesan and use prosciutto, the two most famous products of Parma, Italy. Easier said than done. We all love them, but they can be salty. They're very strong. You got to do some balance. You do a first course and a second course. First course pasta, second course we would know as an entree.
She is on fire. She's got her confidence. She won episode 8 for the first episode, or a first elimination challenge that she won was late in the game. And ever since then, I feel like she's been just riding that high. And I know there are a lot of basketball players who generate a lot of confidence in themselves just by seeing the ball go into the basket. Maybe on average, NBA players, there is no such thing as confidence or seeing the ball go through the net and wanting to get that confidence back. Even if you are one of these Top Chef finalists, or even if you are LeBron James, it is kind of nice to be validated on some level. So Stephanie gets that win and then has been on a little bit of a tear here, being in the top 3 twice and being a winner as well a couple episodes ago. And the thing that stuck out to me was her decision to not do the obvious thing, which is make a really heavy meat or make a really, do a fish or a heavy protein for her secondi dish. And you keep thinking to yourself, hey, if you're in Italy, go do like the tried and true Italian, impress the Italians with some of their, go-to dishes, their signature dishes. But both Melissa and Stephanie decided to go a little bit counter to that, and not even Stephanie had the nuts, the cojones, right, to just go into this and say, I'm going to make a cabbage for you. And I just think that is one of the things that Stephanie, I don't know if maybe 10 episodes ago she would have had the confidence to do that dish, not even present a protein in that dish, but she did. And she did a great job.
Yeah, so I had about halfway through the episode, I thought she was doomed for the following reasons. Not because I think she's a less capable chef, but here she was in her first course. She was going to cook prosciutto. Which, we had already heard, and almost I thought it was perhaps a setup where at the the prosciutto, not factory, the smokery or whatever it's called, hey, prosciutto is meant to be eaten raw, right? But here she is going to cook the prosciutto. I'm like, this is just disastrous. And then on top of that, as you mentioned, she's going to go with a braised cabbage as a main. Now, it did technically have protein because we're talking about prosciutto and parm, and she did a lovely job with that, a Parmesan fonduta. She added some other elements there, some chestnuts, a puree of cabbage and turnips. But to go, as you said, I mean, she's going up against pork. She's going up against a perfectly cooked scallop. She is going up against, Voltaggio doing his delicate fish. And what am I doing? A cabbage lasagna? I mean, there was absolutely no way she wasn't going to go home. And, hey, it would be a very noble finish. She'll finish fourth, higher than she anticipated, higher than any of us anticipated. And I thought her choices were batshit crazy. And there she goes, and she completely pulls it off. That it turns out that, that making this ragu, the prosciutto, the smoke comes through. It's like this lovely compliment with the fettuccine and the braised cabbage they were in love with. It was original. She was applause for her bravery, and it was brave because, as you mentioned, this was a real risk going without a protein. So, again, I don't want to bury the lead, and we should talk about Melissa as just being absolutely dominant right now. But Stephanie might be the best story. And she had no one had her in the final three, and here she is, and not only just sneaking in, but really cooking her best food over the last several weeks.
Yeah, and she still has the great deadpan lines of the show. She when she's dipping, where she's dropping the pasta into the big pot, she just says, "Swim, my loves." And every time she's on camera saying something, I just think she's adorable. She's great, and yeah, let's get into Melissa here, because Melissa, what else is there to say about her? She's 6 overall wins this season on an all-star season, 6 overall wins and 3 quickfire wins.
Yeah, and 3 straight wins. So I thought there was a very telling moment that, to me, captured Melissa and her dominance of this season. She's talking about to the camera when, right at the moment, I think midway through the show, they're talking about how they're conceiving their dishes. And she, she says, it popped in my head. XO sauce has cured meat in it, and that's prosciutto. So the way I'm looking at it is we're actually seeing her brain work, right? Because I think figuring out what the challenge is essentially is one of the biggest parts of the challenge. And we've talked about this a lot, right? So you're watching her connect. Okay, they want us to work with these 2 elements, prosciutto and Parmesan. What is it that I do? Oh, I'm somebody who can import elements of Chinese cooking into any other kind of cooking. Okay, so how do I translate this to the extent that I want to work in a Chinese element, but I need to stay true? Where is the commonality? Oh, what is prosciutto at its very root? It is cured meat. What Chinese element includes cured meat? XO sauce. Boom. Like watching that, her brain work in that orderly fashion, it was like, it was incredible. I mean, it is like, I've said it 50 times on this show, like watching a LeBron or watching a Giannis or whatever. Like, this is why this woman is cleaning up every single week. Everybody else is, oh, I'm inspired by this. And look, it produced some great dishes. There were other people who did great dishes. We just talked about Stephanie. But watching Melissa just say, okay, I'm doing the translation. And by the way, I'm going to conceive something that is going to win and is going to honor the ingredients and is going to allow me to display my best traits as a cook. Like, that is hard to do. And it requires a cerebral chef. It's not all inspiration. It's not all pizzazz. It's not all technique, as much as I like Voltaggio's technique. It's not all heart and soul, as much as I love Kevin's heart and soul. It's combining the cerebral with the lived experience, with the kind of strategic thinking. Like, it's that moment. It popped in my head. XO sauce is cured meat. It was like, that's the show. win. Like,
It is.
that's the show. That is 17 seasons of Top Chef with one clip of one chef talking to the camera. That is the fundamental of the show. That is why she is cleaning up.
And I think also, Kevin, a great moment for her, or just a window into why she's great, is when her consomme raft just split open and she didn't freak out. She just calmly decided to make another one,
right,
and it was perfect. And maybe someone might say, "Oh, I don't have enough time. I got to do something else." You know, they actually shouts to Magical Elves for doing that little crossover there, where it was just totally juked me. I thought it was a meltdown. I thought it was going to be a meltdown, but she just calmly was like, "Yep, I'm just going to redo this, and it'll be good."
Yeah, and that's tough, Tom, because like making a consomme is really, really tough. Like, to get that clarity, you got to put all that gunk. Like, a raft is just gunk. It's just like, but then the gunk produces all these like schmutz things, like these like little particles of meat and like the butter stuff that, you know, on the melted butter that's all like, yuck, that's not the clear kind of perfect clarified butter. And like, that's a major fuck up, right? And she's like, okay, I got it. We're down 12, 4 minutes to go. Okay, I'm fine. We're good. You know, I mean, just the sheer confidence through Zen. It's unreal. She's just, I don't know that I've ever, like, not since, you know, Mei-Lin, have I like admired just a chef's absolute just poise and creativity and just like the ability to summon every good instinct you need to get through something.
Yeah, and I don't know why, Kevin. Did you get the sense that the Italian chefs would look at the XO sauce and be like, "What are you doing with my Italian food?" Like, I kind of got the sense of, wait, this seems like a risk. Both Stephanie and Melissa going out on a limb with their dishes, and it didn't backfire at all. I thought these Italian chefs, given what we saw in the last episode of how they like things a very certain way, very particular, I thought that they might have frowned upon these dishes.
Yeah, I want to get to that when we kind of go over Voltaggio in a minute or two, because I do have – I mean, this is an interesting place to do a finale in the sense that, like, when you go to a region like this, they are not – I mean, these are people who basically believe that there is no food better. And it's not just like boosterism. Like, they truly believe, and they might be right, that, you know, there is no food that is produced better in the world than in Emilia-Romagna. Like this is, you know, the home of Modena, you know, the home of balsamic vinegar, the home of Parma. I mean, like this is the world's great cooking. So don't come in here with your modern little takes. We're not interested in your aerated bullshit. We're not interested in your foam. We're not interested in
We've got basements with 400-year-old hams just hanging
like,
from
just fuck off. Like, you and your cute your little circus seal tricks of, you know, whatever it is you think you can do to a plate, you're going to somehow obscure these beautiful ingredients. Fuck off. And that is kind of the posture of these Italian judges, and I admire it to a certain extent. I mean, God, if you've ever, I mean, I've had some of my best meals in the world there, but it does put something, and I kind of want to, I mean, this is a good segue into Voltaggio.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he comes with a lot of technical prowess. In some ways, you know, he reminds me of, you know, Adrian kind of rode technique to the finale a couple seasons ago, right? I mean, I think there's something to be said for a really good technical chef late in the competition. And the truth of the matter is Brian made the best pasta of the day when you want to just not the best pasta dish, but the best pasta. And it might very well have saved him, Tom Haberstroh.
It did.
It might very well have saved him. But, you know, he comes out with this kind of, you know, he does this chitara pasta with this lovely little egg yolk, and he aerates the Parmesan, right? Which is a different way to do it. And I've seen stuff like that, and it's kind of creative. It looks really cool. And they absolutely lacerated him.
Mm-hmm. And Kevin, I feel for Brian Voltaggio, and here's why. I'm Greek. I don't speak Greek. I don't have just Greek culture just dripping off of me. Even though my grandfather is like from Greece, from Areopoli, Greece, the Mani Peninsula, and I never knew him. He died when my father was 2 years old, and so a lot of like the language, the just basically the culture, the traditions of my family on the Greek side, I didn't get exposed to a lot of that as a kid. And so when I go to Greece and they say, you know, when they speak to me, I don't know how to respond, and I don't know much Greek at all to come back to them with, and you get a kind of ashamed. You get like a little embarrassed. So I really feel from Brian Voltaggio on this trip to Italy, where when I just got a kick out of this when Kevin Gillespie says, I'm going to do pasta fagioli. And Brian goes, a pasta fagioli. And I'm sitting here like, wait, that's the Italian guy mocking the Italian accent. And I'm sitting here like, oh man, I feel so bad. And then later in the episode, he says, gracias. Did you catch that? When they're delivered food in front of them in that basement, that cellar, that little dungeon that Melissa said they were going to get murdered by axe murders. Like he got served a dish and he looks at the chef and says gracias. And I'm sitting here like, oh no, this is I'm getting stressed out just being Brian Voltaggio in what seems to be a home game for him, but in many ways I think he's trying to compensate for the fact that he doesn't speak Italian or doesn't have those roots deeply apparent. And I felt for him on it. I could sense the stress in him is that he really wanted to prove his Italian roots. But there are so many moments in this episode where I felt like he wasn't comfortable.
One of the things I really like about Top Chef is that it invites empathy. Like I love the self-doubting chefs. Like, I mean, I loved Adrian kind of watching that arc of a chef kind of coming into their own. Stephanie's that character in this season. I don't know that I've ever had more empathy for a chef at the judges' table that I did for Voltaggio when Padma conveys to him that there are a bunch of Italian judges and Michelin star chefs. The best chefs in Italy are sitting around a table talking about how he cooks with no heart and passion. And look, they're critics, and they have earned their right to critique. They were explicitly brought on the show to critique. I think there is nothing wrong than getting a poet. You know, you're a reviewer. I mean, I love reading a great takedown of a bad movie. You know, as much as anybody else. I recoiled, and because I just like Tom. Let's. Do
you think they piled on him? Yeah,
and let me give you kind of an example. Let's say go back to 2010, 2011. Tom Haberstroh is 24 or 25. Let's say I don't know, like after the first season of Heat Index at ESPN, you're still this young writer. You've only had 1 year of kind of official on the payroll experience as a writer. You do the top sports writer reality show, right? And here's the challenge, right? You're going to write a feature that captures an element of sport that just speaks to your – whatever it is, right? And then you get to the judges' table, and there's – I don't know. There's like Wright Thompson. There's like Bill James. There's you pick whoever you want. You know, like
Peter Gammons or something. Yeah,
there's Peter Gammons. There's some of the great
Frank DeFord. Yep. And
Frank,
you just like
Frank DeFord, and then like you know, and I just and they get up there and they say, you know, Tom, I read your piece. You wrote it with no heart, no passion. It's like you felt like can you imagine? Just, I mean, again, the people you admire most who have mastered the forms and the genres you are trying to perfect in your own work. And these people, and by the way, knowing that you put your heart and soul and knowing that maybe, okay, you're not, you know, Tom Haberstroh might not be an emotional writer. Haberstroh is somebody who loves empiricism and whatever. And then but by the way, that's who you are. It's an expression of your identity, right? Like how you write is how you write. And then they basically, Tom, tell you, if not that you're full of shit, that you're writing with no passion and no heart. Like, I just can't imagine that.
I know. And you know what that is also there that kind of irks me a little bit, Kevin, is that seems like a subjective thing. That you didn't cook with passion or heart. That seems like a very subjective thing, which makes me wonder, do you think that these Italian chefs like had a little bit of a bias against Voltaggio simply because they knew that he had an Italian background and he was giving him a dish, and therefore they were judging him at a harsher scale? Because I don't know if they would have said the same thing to Melissa, for example. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong or off base, but it makes me wonder is they were a little bit overly critical, or at least he had a higher bar to clear because of the fact that his last name is Voltaggio.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was that as much as it was kind of what I was talking about earlier. Is I do think there is a collective pride.
Hello, listener. It's producer Mays here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS. Hello, listener. It's producer Mays here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with the cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
This episode is brought to you by 20th Century Studios' new film, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, starring Golden Globe winner Jeremy Allen White and Academy Award nominee Jeremy Strong. Scott Cooper, the director of the Academy Award-winning movie Crazy Heart, brings you the story of the most pivotal chapter in the life of an icon. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Only in theaters October 24th. Get your tickets now.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
That, you know what, all those cute little tricks that these American chefs are learning at culinary school, and their stupid foams and their fucking, bringing out tanks of liquid nitrogen and, trying to turn, they think, we've been doing pesto here for 800 years. And, he's going to puree it down and try, because it looks cute on a plate when it's that, rather than just a gob of like chunky fucking peanut butter that's green, I think they have a disdain for a certain school of modern cuisine that Voltaggio personifies, and where these peripheral or ancillary features are more important than what they often, as is often said on Top Chef, quote, honoring the ingredient or honoring the tradition. They will do modern. Like, the best meal I've ever had was in Alba, Italy, up in the Piedmont at a place called Piazza Duomo. And, it actually is, and it's true, I went through the photo album for the first time in 5 years today to look at the 10 dishes I was served. And it does actually look very much like Melissa's food, because it is modern in the sense that it's not just a big hunk of, this isn't rustic food. It's presented in a modern way, but it never gets away from the pure essence. Like, you can still see like it was that kind of Melissa's modernism, because Melissa's a very modern cook. When you look at those plates, those are modern. This is not homey cooking. That Bordeaux, those ravioli or what, her pasta is very much like it is modern in aesthetic, right? The Brodo is perfectly clarified. But it looks clean and modern, yet it still captures the essence of the Italian cooking. His is more of a departure. His brand of cooking is different. I think they resent the shit out of it. I think he is the personification of all these fads that they know they're going to outlive. That when all this shit, there's going to be a new movement. We went from molecular gastronomy to this new kind of thing to blah, 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 blah. And in 100 years, when all that shit we're laughing about it is, oh, look at that 2000 and early 2010 food. Ha ha ha. Here's the new, let's go back to a restaurant. Let's go back to Inc., Michael Voltaggio's restaurant. Remember this food? And we're going to laugh about it the way we laughed about the Michael's food. These Italian chefs know, we're going to bury you. You're going to come up. Yeah. You're going to be the fad. You're going to die. You're going to have your stupid little trends. And we're still going to have Parma. And we're still going to have prosciutto, and we're still going to have Parmesan, and you can aerate it. You can shit it out as a turd. You can fucking do whatever it is that you think on the plate will make it interesting, and we're still going to have it at its rawest forms, and we're still going to do it better than any of you can.
Yeah, and they said it was devoid of love or passion. The dish fell flat. They were hard. It's not, it's not. I don't feel bad in the sense that Brian Voltaggio has earned his standing here. He is one of the most acclaimed chefs in America. So I don't feel like getting a little bit undressed. By the way, he didn't go home. So it wasn't like they hated it so much that he was going to go home. I think the thing that I think you're touching on is they almost cut him to his core in terms of, you're in Italy and whatever you are as a chef doesn't fly here. And it was kind of a real this is one of those moments where Brian Voltaggio is going to be up at night and thinking about, even when he's a James Beard Award winning chef, even though he has the top restaurants in the world, like those are the moments that are going to stick with you. And he might win this whole damn thing. We don't know. But
I just want to clarify. I don't think it was a dick thing to say. Like, I want these judges to come on the show and be unfiltered. I mean, this is an entertainment product. Like, I don't want them to hold their tongue. But I really feel for Voltaggio. I thought it was a low blow. And I'm with you in the sense that, look, everything's subjective, but I do think trying to glean a chef's heart or passion, like Voltaggio, not everybody expresses passion in the same way, right? I don't want every writer in the world conveying passion the same way in their work. I don't want every artist conveying passion in the same way. And like Voltaggio, and I thought his defense was really right. Like, that's my passion. Like, he loves to take ingredients and do something you've never thought of before. They don't particularly like to cook that way. They want a certain level of creativity, but they want the tradition present. Right. And I think that's just a difference of opinion. But I did think it was a dick thing to say. I'm not sorry they said it. Like, I want them to say it if they feel it. I just think it's a little shitty, but I get it.
And I also enjoyed the fact that Brian Voltaggio, who's the king of the dad jokes, got to cut the cheese.
Oh, well, of course. Our inner 9-year-old celebrates Brian Voltaggio. The contestant who went home, who, Tom, I believe we're going to have on a special kind of season in review / chef's table with Kevin Gillespie. We're
going to have Kevin this week in a standalone episode, so stay tuned for that. We're really excited to have Kevin on the show, and we'll get into some of these things more with him. But, man, Kevin looked like he was having a blast this episode, huh?
Yeah, I mean, as he said, pork on pork. He is, he's not an
That's
Italian.
His happy place.
Right. Yeah. And he's not an Italian chef. And I think when he's spooning the amount that he spooned on that first dish of Parmesan, I think tipped to the thought that this is not a home game for him. But I do think there is a rusticness to, and he's not a rustic chef per se, but I think there is a richness and soulfulness to Italian food that speaks to him in a different language, but still is sort of his mode of interpretation. And so I do think it was very much a thing he was excited about.
The whole spooning the Parmesan didn't strike me immediately as offensive, but boy, were they offended by that. They hated that whole spooning of the Parmesan.
Tom. It was a lot. I mean, God, I will never cook one thing in my life that's as good as a bad Kevin Gillespie meal, but it was a lot. Like, I was sort of watching it even before they showed Tom's face give it away. I was like, man, that's a lot of fucking Parmesan.
But I get it. You've got the goods and you're going to give it to him in full. Like, you don't want to, there's an old saying in golf that you never leave a winning putt short. You never leave it short. You always go long. And I think that's what he was doing there, is if I have this 36-month Parmesan here, I am going to give them an extra dose just so that I know that this is the good stuff. And he went over the top.
Right. He had kind of a tragic episode in the sense that he overemphasized the keynote ingredient in the first course, and then he underemphasized it in the second course. And I don't think it's a stretch to say, if not for that spoon, he might have been in the finale. Like, it was very close with Voltaggio, who we actually never talked about his second dish. He did this, lovely Voltaggio-esque, like, delicate bass with a squash and a pumpkin seed pesto and a sage brown butter, and then like prosciutto, and the pesto was a little flat, and the bass was a little underwhelming, and maybe there's a ceiling to fish, I don't know, in this particular contest. But and then Kevin did the ravioli, as you say, in the fagioli, the beans in the raviolo, and then did a pork with apples and prosciutto, but the prosciutto was kind of just apparently not incorporated or integrated.
I hated that critique, Kevin. I hated that critique of, like, you just put the prosciutto on because when you go to the master class of prosciutto and you ask them can you cook prosciutto, and they basically like laser eye just incinerate you for even suggesting that you cook prosciutto. And my thing is, yes, there's a lot of things I guess you could do with raw prosciutto or the cured prosciutto without cooking it. But I'm going to give him a slide there. Is when you have the experts of experts telling you, let the prosciutto shine on its own. Don't try to do anything cute with it. Don't try to cook it. Just let it shine. And he does put the prosciutto on there in a classic way. Nothing revolutionary. I don't think you should be hammered for that. They just told you don't cook it. And they said, oh, you just kind of threw some prosciutto on there. I don't know. He also had a pork roast there. So I do think there was an interplay on that level. The issue that he had was that it was dry. And I think that's more of a cooking problem, is that obviously when he was cooking it and slicing it, he loved it. He thought the kotba was perfect, and he said as much. And then the judges said it was dry. So I think if you're going to send him home or critique him, I'd rather it just be about how he didn't cook the pork properly, rather than just like, hey, he didn't do too much with the prosciutto.
Yeah, and we'll talk to Kevin about that, because, meat is temperamental, and if you over-rest, I mean, it's almost like a bottle of wine in the sense that if you eat, let's say, a steak that's been resting for 2 minutes, it tastes different than the one that will rest for 9. Like, I mean, things still continue to cook, and I'm just curious to see. And I always wonder with the show, and we've talked about it vis-a-vis Restaurant Wars or whatever else, like, look, the show's beautifully edited. I wonder, did it rest longer than he would have otherwise? Was there a production question? Because it's interesting. I trust Kevin. If Kevin looks at it and says, I nailed my pork, or it was perfect, and then the judges say it's tough, like something, I'm wondering what the variable is, right? Yeah. Like, is it, hey, wait, we're not, the previous contestants haven't gone. I mean, as somebody who worked on a reality show, I tell you, like, the amount of time that can elapse between like the continuation of one scene is pretty remarkable. And I'm just curious, because it's just, Kevin's a guy who knows meat. And if he thought it was perfect and they thought it was dry, something happened. And I'm just curious about it. I mean, Tom suggested that he seared one side too long, which can kind of fuck things up. But I'm just curious about it.
Yeah, and I think if Kevin watched this episode from home and got to see someone else go through that pork Olympics there, like the most epic pork in the world, things that have been just cured for centuries or hanging up in that dank basement, I'd be so upset that I wouldn't be able to go, because it's very clear that him as a Southern chef who has done wonderful things with pork or bacon or what have you in the show, I would imagine he would be really, really a major case of FOMO. So he got to go to this. And it seemed like it was great Magical Elves moment where the editing, where they spliced in the little Barry White, like softcore porn music while he's eating the pork in the basement there. And he was just on another level. And I'm so glad that he got to experience it, because it really, of all the chefs here, I felt like he would have enjoyed this experience the most. But when it comes down to the 4 dishes, I don't know if you do this, Kevin, right before they go to judges table, I write down who I think is going home and who I think is going to win the episode, just as like just to check myself to see if I'm getting the right vibes. And I thought Kevin was going home right before the judges table. I thought Brian might have, but I wrote it down that Kevin I thought was going to go home.
I thought it was going to be Voltaggio, just based on the fact that, like, Gail really praised the fagioli. And, there was a Padma, oh, I love that you did pork and apples. And then when judges are basically saying this guy cooks with no passion and no heart, I think it's a pretty big indictment. And so I just assumed it was Voltaggio. My Eric thought it was Kevin. But anyway, can we preview the finale for a few minutes? I just want to get your thoughts on how you think it stacks up. I mean, give me your kind of finals preview.
Yeah, so we have 3 chefs. Last year they did the 3 chefs thing. Previous years they did 2. We're going to go into a finale with Melissa King on a fucking roll. 3 wins. Not only that, 3 wins in a row. She's won the quick fire twice in there. 4 episodes ago, she won the quickfire. She won the quickfire 3 episodes ago. And then 2 episodes ago, she was in the top 3 in the quickfire. And she is just, I mean, we can't really say it enough that she is all-time great Top Chef contestant. Doing this on an all-star field. We're going to also get to see Michael Voltaggio apparently in the finale via like FaceTime. He's going to get some little help from his brother. Voltaggio is going to be there, and Stephanie is going to be there. When we look at the standings, it really isn't close. Melissa has 81 points this season with 6 victories and 3 quickfire wins. The next highest score is Gregory. Chef Greg was out last week, and he still is far and away the second highest scorer. So there's Gillespie's gone at 47, Greg is gone at 59, and here we have Stephanie with 44 points and Brian Voltaggio at 42. Again, not to belabor the whole Padma announcement, but I think if Stephanie wins, it's going to be an upset. If Brian Voltaggio wins, it might be perceived as less so. But Melissa King, it would be really a big bummer if we didn't see Melissa come out on top on this one, because she is the 73-9 Warriors. She won the regular season. If she doesn't win this, it is going to feel wrong. You're going to look back at this season and just be like, yeah, I know the Cavs won it. I know Voltaggio won it, but this was really about Melissa.
Well, setting aside whatever forensics you and your friends have been doing with this clip of Padma, I just can't predict anybody other than Melissa winning. She's just been far and away the best contestant, far and away the best chef, frankly. She just fundamentally has a innate understanding of what we're doing here on this show. I always think about the finale. Usually there's a very wide berth. They get to kind of do what the hell they want to do.
Oh, wait. Can I pause you for a second there?
Yeah. Is that true?
You said birth. What the hell was that pheasant bladder birth ravioli thing?
What are you talking about?
Did you catch they did a pheasant ravioli, or they were eating ravioli, and there was this bladder that they were cooking it in on the last episode?
Yeah. No, the thing is, like, it's kind of
they cut it open. It was just. It pooped out all these raviolis. I thought it was disgusting looking. I get the technique of it, but that looks like a ravioli birth.
I've never seen that until I went to Italy. It's pretty freaking weird. Yes, it's just like this,
oh my!
The
pheasant bladder giving birth to ravioli. I was like, oh god, what the hell has just happened? Yeah. Sorry, when you said birth, that's what I in my head it would conjure it up.
Yeah, but so
continue.
I mean, so think about it. Now, remind me again. Last season, they eliminate the third chef midway through, or is it, or did all 3 chefs go to the final?
It's kind of like a quick fire. I think is like they do like a dish
and a amuse bouche or something, or what was it?
I forget. Eric Ajapong was one of the 3 finalists, along with Sarah and Kelsey. And what happened?
That was his tartare that went home, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then he goes home, and then I think it's like a final cook-off with the 2 chefs head on head on a particular dish. And I remember it was the Atlantic slave trade. He had another dish that he had prepared, but he wasn't able to show it because he got kicked off already. So I think he like almost did like a dinner afterwards in DC where he did the full meal because he wasn't able to show the full meal. So I think in this episode, we're going to have a round, almost like a play-in to the finale, and Voltaggio, Melissa King, and Stephanie are going to be vying for the Top Chef All-Stars season.
Right. But it's still the 4-course meal it's pretty much limitless in its terms, right?
I think so.
Right.
I think so.
Thinking about that, there's always a dessert course, and I think Stephanie can win the dessert course. Mm-hmm. I think she might be the best pastry chef among the 3, right? So I'm trying to think of like ways you can talk yourself into how can Melissa not win here? Typically it has been kind of, hey, here are the 4 courses, who won each course. If Stephanie can win the dessert and win one of the other 3, she is a very good pasta maker. Maybe we're underrating her chances here. I mean, again, I do think, and I don't mean this as a knock. I just think that that Melissa has uncommon creativity. Voltaggio just has his technique allows him to go in a lot of different directions. Stephanie, by her own admission, sometimes it doesn't, she's like, I have no idea what to do. I mean, you've seen this in Quickfire a million times. Like it takes her a little longer to cultivate an idea. Now, the good news is generally speaking, they have a full day, and this isn't a Quickfire, right? Like never do you have more time and more leeway. But I'm curious to see what happens. Again, it's hard for me to make a rationale for anything other than Melissa, unless you're somebody, again, going back to the Padma thing, it sounds like she's talking to an underdog or whatever. But I just can't fathom anybody other than Melissa winning.
Yeah, I know. But the thing that Stephanie has going for her is that when she trips up, it's when it's a Quickfire or something where she has to conceive a dish like that, like real quick. Like, remember when she had to do the Restaurant Wars? She was all over the place, and she ended up doing like a neighborhood pub. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what this is. I just couldn't think of anything. In this, she has several weeks, I think at least a few weeks to understand where I'm going and to study up on it. And I feel like Stephanie, by virtue of having all that homework done and having these dishes in her head already lined up, I feel like that is going to be a place of advantage for her.
Right. And it's fair to say, and we can ask Kevin this, that every chef who shows up at the finale has a menu that they came with. Now, it might, in terms of variation, or maybe you were inspired by something in the previous week and eating around Italy, but I think that typically these chefs, with some possible exceptions, come saying, here's going to be my finale meal. I mean, I imagine it's the first thing you ask yourself when you start getting close, which is, okay, final meal, Top Chef, 4-course, what are you making? And they all kind of have an answer. So to your point, yeah, Stephanie doesn't have to labor under this. You got 10 minutes to feed the world and do it with a blindfold with these 7 ingredients. Go. Like, what are you making? So then maybe maybe she benefits the most from this. I mean,
having time. Yeah.
Right. Now, Voltaggio is, again, he has creations, right? Like, he is a creation guy, and I do think that a finale does lend itself to sort of doing those sorts of aspirational dishes, if you will. And
Kevin, if I was going to the racetrack and I could bet on, I'm taking the Stephanie bet. The odds, she's probably a long shot. I am taking the Stephanie.
Will you take her at 5-2?
No.
Okay. Do you take her at 7-2?
I would take her at like
8-1. No, is that 4-1?
I would go to 10-1. I would take Stephanie, and then I don't know.
Would you take? No, you would not. So you wouldn't take her at 6-1. For those at home, I'm asking Tom to wager $100 to win $600.
I would. Yes.
Okay.
I would. Yeah. I think Stephanie. I think in terms of the odds, I think Stephanie is the longest shot going into this. But given what we all know and what Eric knows, is that she's going to come out on top based on a 2-second clip.
All right, I'll give you another one, and then this will be the last one. Will you take Melissa at 1-2? For those at home, I'm asking Tom to wager $200 to win $100. In other words, he gets his $200 back, by the way. So
yeah,
you would not take Melissa at 1-2.
You would.
I don't like underwater bets like that. Yeah. Would you take her at 2-3?
See, I'm going to
take
say,
her at even money, obviously, right? You take her at even money, don't you?
I'm going to say yes. Okay. I would take that. So I think Melissa is far and away the favorite. I think Voltaggio is probably the second most likely. By points, he's not. Stephanie has two wins. Voltaggio has 1 with 0 quick fires, which is remarkable. But still, I think Voltaggio, the fact that he's been on this show twice already, I don't think he ever doubted that he was a top 10 contestant this season, whereas we know Stephanie did. So I think Stephanie's probably, the odds are she's the longest of the 3.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I like, it's funny, Adrian, who's one of my favorite contestants ever, sort of embodies both Voltaggio and Stephanie. She sort of had the trajectory Stephanie did, which is sort of building confidence over a season in which she didn't think of herself as a potential finale candidate or and kind of started doing her best cooking at the end. But she also has great technique, and I do think technique can keep you in the game in a finale really strongly, particularly with, again, the wide berth. Voltaggio, we're all informed by this Padma click. Otherwise, I think Voltaggio is a really tough out, and he's just, again, there's a lot there. But again, it's like I'm talking myself into shit that I can't justify against a truth that to me is so much more evident to anybody paying attention, which is Melissa King is the best chef in this competition, and it hasn't been close.
It hasn't. She's lapping the field.
Tom, any closing thoughts?
I think that's it. I would like Evan Funke. Is that the same? I don't know if you watched Arrested Development. Tobias Funke is a great character on the show. Evan Funke or Evan Funk. I don't know how you pronounce it. I would read a book, an audiobook just of him reading. I don't know, the way he spoke at these dinners. I was like, you are just not only eloquent, but I just would like to listen to you on a podcast. So maybe he does have. I should probably look this up. I also wanted just another thing that I have in my notes here is 80 pounds of cheese was worth $1,000. Come talk to me when you have a $3,000 1 pound thing. Like the Tuscan, like you want to impress me. 80 pounds of cheese is getting you $1,000. What about those beagles getting those truffle little gold nuggets out there? So I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed this season. I'm really looking forward to Kevin Gillespie's interview on Monday. And please, everyone, don't think that we're waiting until the finale. We have another episode coming before the finale. And yeah, I can't believe this show is wrapping up here. We're here at the finale, and your team might have. I'm predicting you're going to have the winner of Top Chef on your team, and I'm not. But I'm going to win in the fantasy standings.
I think you're insane, and I think you're reading too much into promotional
clips. This is why we do this,
to inform
Kevin.
your thinking.
This is why we make a good team.
For Tom Haberstroh, this is Kevin Arnovitz, and this is Pack Your Knives.